What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of RAW and UNCUT New York Sports, where we talk about the Mets, the Nets, and the Giants. We're going to be touching on the Mets today for a little bit, real quick. I know I haven't done any series recaps. They've had a pretty wild last 2 weeks, I'd say, with some games being canceled and, the protests and all that, and so it's been kind of crazy. A lot has happened between the last time we played the Phillies up until now, and we have this 4-game set going into the weekend versus the Philadelphia Phillies. But before we get into that, there's really nothing like the Mets. The way they do things is really amazing. It's really unique, and I think it irritates the fuck out of all of us New York Mets fans. Sounds like we have Uncle Steve Cohen, coming to the rescue soon. So that is definitely something to look forward to. I think the culture, the direction that the New York Mets are going to be heading in is going to be something that we haven't seen in a while. So I really hope Steve Cohen does things the right way. Okay, I know he's been has had legal issues and all that. So I hope he brings some integrity to the New York Mets. Because I believe his heart is there, right? He's a New York Mets fan, and I think he really wants to. I think he wants to show off a little bit. So, and I think he will. So again, the Mets are headed towards a place where winning is going to matter, and the trading deadline came and went, and the Mets didn't blow it all up for one guy. We didn't trade the farm or whatever is left of it. But they did make a move, right? They got Todd Frazier, which is very Mets-like to go and do. The Mets are a team that have been leading the majors in batting average and on-base percentage for a good part of the season. And then if we turn over to our pitching, the back end of the rotation, actually fucking 2 to 5 in the rotation, has not been good, except for David Peterson, right? Our relievers have been so-so, and we go and we pick up fucking Todd Frazier. For what? I have no idea. Team morale, I don't think the team morale was shot at all. They just were, the players were underperforming. But again, batting average and on-base percentage was not an issue with the team. Like, they were getting on base. They were getting base hits. They were scoring runs. They just weren't scoring runs with runners in scoring position. So I don't know how Frazier helps that. If anything, I think Todd Frazier is going to fucking lower those stats down. So I didn't get that move. We were in need of a pitcher, bullpen help maybe, and I don't feel like we got that. Miguel Castro was a decent trade, I guess, or a decent piece to that trade that we got over from Baltimore. But again, it's nothing of impact. But I'll say this: I'm glad the Mets, Brody specifically, did not sacrifice any of the farm to try to make a postseason run. Okay, I'm glad that did not happen, because I think a lot of us were scared of that happening. So that's something good that came away from the trade deadline. And and speaking of making a run, we got 22 games to go. The Mets need to be in playoff mode right now. Going into this series versus the Phillies, we don't need to split with them. We don't need to win 3 out of 4. We need to sweep them. We need to win all 4 games, because the fact of the matter is, we're chasing the Philadelphia Phillies for that second spot in the division. We're chasing the wild card. So we gotta have these games. They need to return the favor and fucking sweep the Phillies. Plus, there's not a team that I hate more than the Phillies. Okay, besides their fans, I just hate the Phillies. 2006 comes to mind, so those are very. 2007 comes to mind, and those are just fucking horrible memories. But and this is a good measuring stick for the Mets right now, because the Phillies are 9-3 in their last 12. They've really turned it around since they gave up that 7-run lead to the Blue Jays a couple weeks ago, and they've bounced back nicely. This is an offense. I tweeted out a couple weeks ago, the Phillies have an offense that can put up 10 runs on any given day. Okay? They have a 1-2 punch with Nola and Wheeler. Those guys are good. Wheeler has been impressive. How much are we fucking missing Zach Wheeler right now? The rest of their rotation is not great, but it can be good. Their biggest issue, like the Mets, is hitting with runners in scoring position. The Phillies' issue is their bullpen is just fucking horrible. Like their ERA has gotten better as a team, but it's dead last. So it's not a very good bullpen. They did get some help at the trade deadline, traded for a couple Red Sox players, but they would have to like really cut that ERA, that team ERA, down by like 2 runs, almost 2.5 runs. But I think their offense is good enough that it can kind of disguise that bullpen a little bit, kind of hide that, put it on the back burner, and make you forget about how bad that bullpen is. And that's how good I think their offense is. Like Rhys Hoskins playing well, McCutchen. These last 7 games, this whole Phillies lineup has been playing good. And Bryce Harper's not even, he's not even batting 200 in his last 7 games. So this is a good Phillies team. I think they can make a deep run. The Mets need to feed off this win from yesterday. Pretty emotional win for the Mets against the Yankees. Walk-off style, Pete Alonso in the rain. We need to grow off that. So I don't know. The Mets are a team that has not played consistent all season long. We really have rotation problems. I'm losing hope here because with 25 games to go, I said we need to go 15-10 to get us to 30 wins. I think 30 wins is the mark to get that 8th spot. And now we have 22 games to go. So I don't know. I don't know if the Mets got to go on a series run. We still play the Blue Jays, who are playing well, and they're fighting for a wild card spot. We play the Orioles after the Phillies, I believe. So those are 3 games right there that we can steal 2 out of 3. We really should sweep the fucking Orioles. They're not a good team. I think we're better than the Orioles. But all that matters is right now. I'm super excited for this Phillies series because, number one, I really hate the Phillies. I have a lot of history with Philadelphia. But, it seems like when the Phillies are good, the Mets are not. When the Mets are good, the Phillies are not. And this really should be treated like a playoff game. I think these are going to be really good games. A lot of back and forth. And don't be surprised if, batters get hit and there's a little skirmish or something. This is gonna be a playoff type of game without fans, but between the lines, between the players, I think they're gonna treat this as such. So I look forward to this series. The Mets need to sweep. Plain and simple. At worst, 3 out of 4, but a sweep has to be done because the Mets are playing catch up, and you just gotta sweep here. I mean, they swept us. Let's return the fucking favor and sweep the fuck out the Phillies. That's all I really got. There's nothing like New York sports, man. There's just, you got cities like Philly, New York, California, Chicago. Those are all cities, man, that winning matters. It's not like fucking Minnesota or, places like that where it doesn't have that same feel. When New York plays Philadelphia, it's a different type of beast, and there's nothing like East Coast sports, East Coast baseball. I fucking love it because we just want to beat each other so damn bad. So shout out to all my Philadelphia fans out there. I know I talk a lot of shit about you guys. Most of the fans can be a little difficult to deal with, but I really appreciate the heart and the emotion that the Philadelphia fans really put into their sports teams, because I really believe it's like none other. Not even New York is like it. I think they take it to a different level, and I think it's good. It's good for sports. It's good for this rivalry, and so I enjoy it, me personally. So thanks for tuning in for another show of Raw and Uncut New York Sports. Until the next one, keep it raw and uncut.